The Search Podcast USA Edition series is sponsored by PGC. PGC are the longest serving employer of record in North America and can compliantly engage contractors across both the US and Canada on behalf of staffing and recruitment businesses. Our turnkey solution offers a unique access point to the largest staffing market in the world. To find out more, visit us at pgcgroup.com.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to another episode of the Search Podcast. I'm Elliott Manning, the MD of Cayman Recruitment, operating out of the UK, US, SA. I've got a very, very special guest with me on the podcast this week, who is currently in America, operates the American market. You're in America, aren't you?
I am. I'm in Miami.
Didn't want to get that wrong. There you go. So that could have been a bad start, first of all. But no, you're in Miami. Lisa, I'll let you do the introduction to who you are, where you are, and who you work for, and everything else.
Amazing. So thanks so much, Elliott. So my name is Lisa Shephard. I have a business called ALTUS-WRX. And essentially what we do is we help British and European businesses establish themselves in the United States. We do a number of things. So anything from finding out what the opportunity is in the US for your product or service, all the way through to boots on the ground, testing the market, building your brand before you physically get here. So that's essentially what we do. I've been here for 7.5 years. Obviously, I haven't lost my accent. From London originally. I now live on Miami Beach.
Yeah.
Not to make anyone jealous, but yeah.
No, not in the slightest. And actually, because I've been there recently, I now know what it's like there. And
yeah.
I'm looking forward to going back, that's for sure.
Yeah.
So I guess for those listening in and wanting to get a bit more information, if I was running a recruitment company in, let's call it technology, I'm based in London, I've got my sights set on getting out to the US, especially Florida is of interest, Texas is of interest, and I come to you, what's the process? What happens?
Yeah, so I think what's unique about recruitment firms is that you can typically start selling into the US from the UK without spending any money initially, right? So if you're placing candidates, very easy for you to start placing candidates in the US and test the market that way. Where we come in is when you started to really build some momentum in the US, some money, you're starting to generate some good revenue, and you're starting to think, you know what, maybe I should hire a team there. That's a whole different ball game, right? As I'm sure a lot of your listeners will know, it's blooming expensive.
Yep.
Knowing where to place your team is also difficult. To get the right mix of local versus, moving people over is super important. So what we will do is come in and essentially help you build your brand locally first. So yes, initially it's easy to start placing candidates in the US, but for people to really start to build brand presence, that's where we partner with you. We will be your boots on the ground, attend events on your behalf. Let's say it's the Miami market. There are so many things going on in Miami and Tampa and Orlando right now. So making partnerships for you. So when you're speaking to potential clients, they are like, hang on one second, I've met someone, or I recognize the brand name, and that is very, very. It really helps your sort of sales pitch when you're starting to speak to US-based clients. And then once you decide that you're going to definitely hire, then again we can help find space, like all the practical things. But really, it's about building your brand locally.
So you're doing all the exploration side of it before to make it a lot easier. And the thing is I speak to a lot of, perfect. I speak to a lot of recruitment businesses, and they say to me, Elliott, we're going to the US. What do we do? How do we do it? Where do we go? And this, that, the other. First thing I say to them, have you actually been to the US? Do you even know what the US culture is like? Do you know anything about it? 9 times out of 10, they say, oh yeah, I went on holiday there for a week with a family tour. Well, that's not going to benefit you one bit, unfortunately.
No.
So for them to then, they've got two options, right? They can either obviously do it all themselves, figure it all out, learn the hard way without knowing really kind of what to do and how to do it, or they can go to you and basically you would just do it all with them / for them to make it 10 times more efficient and easier to kind of get things moving in the US.
I think the key is the partnership, and also it's really hard. You're running a business in, let's say, in the UK, and then you're trying to also build a business in the US. Essentially, what you're doing is you have a startup, right? That's the way to approach it. You have a startup that is trying to expand into the United States. Having the time to do both is almost impossible as if you're running your own business. So we can take away some of that pain where it comes to the US and give you, you know, sort of boots on the ground support and advice and feedback. And, you know, the US, we speak the same language, but we don't. You know, culturally, even from state to state, even within Florida, as an example, you know, Miami is like a microcosm in itself, right? So, you know, Miami has gone bananas in the last 4 years in terms of the number of individuals moving to this city. South Florida, because now it's also Fort Lauderdale, West Palm Beach, you know, it's pretty much all starting to merge into one. But understanding, you know, this is still quite Latin Hispanic city, so you need to bear that in mind. Tampa is completely different. It's much more American. So understanding those nuances and what makes sense for your business, whether you're placing candidates into tech, whether you're placing candidates into, you know, more corporate roles, finance, etc. It's sort of understanding that landscape, because it is really easy initially to get your first few placements, right? It's super quick, right? You just hit someone at the right time, that's brilliant. But then how do you maintain that growth? And really the only way to do it is, you know, face to face, building the brand and building those relationships. Because, you know, my background is recruitment, so I get it. It is all relationship based, and so it's super important. And yes, this is a massive opportunity in the United States, but there's still a lot of recruitment firms here offering the same thing, and there are a lot of British recruitment firms and a lot of people in the US who are British who are working for American recruitment firms. So, you know, if you think, oh, we're going to be super unique because we're British and we have a great accent, I tell you what, the accent will get you super far. But, you know, then it's like someone else is also contacting them who also happens to be British. So it's really trying to understand what your USP is here, because it will be different to the UK.
Absolutely. What do you think are the, I mean, obviously these are a lot of challenges people will face going over to the US. What do you think is the most talked about place to set up at the moment in the US? Because it changes every 2-3 months. Do you think people are more interested in Florida as opposed to Texas nowadays, or is it still New York? LA is not really a big, you know, kind of prominent market.
No. I think it really depends what your market is in terms of who you're trying to, you know, who's your target market from a business perspective. But Texas is still very popular. Austin is obviously one of the most popular cities to set up a recruitment firm right now. And that's why you might think, okay, maybe it's a little bit saturated. I don't know, right? Maybe not. But I think where Florida is becoming very popular is it's not only is it very easy to get to from, you know, the major cities in the UK. There's numbers, you know, 6 or 7 flights into Miami every day, into Fort Lauderdale, into Orlando, into Tampa. It's super easy to get here. And as I mentioned, as we came out of the pandemic, so many people moved or are moving still from New York. The sort of the West Coast tend to have moved to places like Texas, and maybe somewhere like, you know, Nevada even, or, you know, Phoenix. But the East Coasters have pretty much come down to Florida. And what that's meant is we've got more headquarters now in Miami and Tampa and Orlando. We've got more talent here than we ever had before. When I first moved to Miami 7.5 years ago, it was so hard to hire people here. So hard with any kind of experience that was more than Florida. Now it's completely different ball game, right? Totally different. So I think what the opportunity is for recruitment firms specifically is tapping into this market now. It's booming. I just actually got off a call with a development agency in St. Pete's, which is next to Tampa. And he's saying, you know, they're building like crazy. They've got other, you know, businesses that are moving down to maybe Tampa or St. Pete's, because it's also the lifestyle, right? So yes, we work hard here, but then, you know, you go and work out on the beach in the morning, or you walk your dog on the boardwalk, or, you know, you've got sunshine. Yes, we get hurricanes, right? Pros and cons. But you feel a bit better about yourself when you're in the sunshine and the heat. But it's easy to hire people here because you're in Florida. So it's got a different vibe to it now than it ever has before.
Do you think that, there's still more opportunity? Like, obviously, since I did set up in the US 5-6 years ago, to see where it's at now with the demand and the kind of how much it's filling up with expat businesses, is there still opportunity for them to join and jump ship to do this as well? Because
for sure,
the one thing I speak to them about is that, like, oh, we're a bit too late to the party, it's all kind of already going off. And I'm like, no, you don't realize, like, it's too big of a place for that to even occur. What kind of, I suppose, what kind of key guidances are you giving to these businesses yourself?
I think you've got to look at it in terms of where is the investment, right? So in the UK, it is tough. It's tough everywhere, right, to raise money now. If you're thinking about potential clients, it's hard to raise investment. It's a little bit easier in the US. The mentality, the mindset in the US from an investment perspective is people will take risks. It's more of a risk-taking type of environment. So it's a massive country. There's a massive opportunity here. That's not going to change, right? And I think that if you're comparing the UK to the US, yeah, a lot of people are moving here, but there's plenty for everybody. But I think the key is to really understand the market that you're operating in, right? And being very targeted in your approach and your USP, and understanding what it is you have to offer over and above everybody else, and the relationships. It's exactly the same as what you're doing in the UK or in Europe. You're building relationships. You're becoming that partner of choice to that company, and that's what you have to do here. But that is really hard to do when you're remote in the UK. And yeah, you could fly over every month, but man, that's expensive and exhausting.
Yep.
So
firsthand, yep.
You've got to
4 trips this year. Sorry to jump in. 4 trips this year, and I am absolutely shattered. Because it always catches up. And as much as it's exciting and it's good opportunity, you've got to be there for the right reasons. But it can take its toll.
Everyone will have a meeting with you, right? This is the great thing about the US. Everyone is open to chatting, going for lunch, going for coffee, going for drinks, especially in I would say on the East Coast and Florida. Everyone wants to meet you. You're a new person, you're a new entity. Everyone wants to help you. I think that's also really great in generally in the US. People are here to help you. But it's understanding who are the right people, and just don't drive yourself crazy flying here every 2-3 times a quarter. It's you can work with someone like us and we can take that for you.
Look, that's it. And I think something that could be really interesting, I've got a client that I do some consulting for his business, and the next step for him naturally is to go to the US because they've got a lot of clients there. But in the last year or two of doing it, he's never actually been over to the States to meet them. And I said to him, like, you've got loads of clients there that you're making money from. Do you think it's important? And the obvious answer I know, but do you think it's important for him to go over there and meet them now and get and entertain rather than just keep doing it digitally? Like, I don't think it's really going to work, moving forward.
And also, who knows, someone else could go there, take them out for dinner, take them out for drinks, meet them at an event, build a relationship, and suddenly you stop seeing the work coming in. So don't ever think, oh, this is easy, I don't even need to go there, I can just do everything from the UK. You can, to a point, but if you want to retain that client and grow that client, the only way you're going to do it is getting in front of them, building that face-to-face relationship. Super important, very important here. And then building your network.
It's worth the investment, that's for sure, because the ROI will be 10 times bigger just for that one small expense.
And you know what it's like, you meet someone and they suddenly say, you know what, I've got someone in my team, or we're going to have a senior hire coming up in the next 3 to 4 months, and then you've got potential pipeline there, right? So
absolutely. Last question for you. How does your service work for companies and business owners to when they reached out to you, how do you, if you don't mind sharing information, not around necessarily the figures, but how do you charge? Like, how do you operate the I suppose the value on your side?
We generally work on a retained basis.
Yep.
So, you know, it's light in terms of upfront investment for that organization. So you retain us on a monthly basis, and we go out and start building either the relationships for you, the partnerships for you, the network for you. You know, if you want to be at an event and you can't get over, we'll be at that event for you. So, and be your brand. And I think that what's nice is that because we're British, you know, we're still able to represent you as a British business expanding into the US. So yeah, it's very straightforward. Yeah.
Brilliant. Well, Lisa, thank you so much for your time, for speaking to me, for sharing all this information. If anyone is interested, and I'm sure there will be people to, you know, utilize your services in the US, which I highly recommend. I'll have all your details logged on every post that goes out and all the socials. But if you want to reach out directly, guys and girls, please do so. You know, and get in touch yourselves. If you have any questions, obviously let me know and I'll put you in touch either way. Lisa, thank you very much for your time. Appreciate it. And best of luck with everything. And I'm sure we'll definitely speak soon anyway.
Yeah, thanks, Elliott. I appreciate it.
Pleasure.